Carl was driving on Route 86 during the storm. Do you remember that storm? Of course you don't. You were in LA at the time. Well, it was a bad one. Cats and dogs. Worst I've seen in 10 years. He was out there in the booms and lost control of the car. He went over the guardrail, down a ravine. Car flipped over, and you couldn't see him from the road, especially with the rain. You couldn't even see the lights. It took me about an hour to figure he was late, about 3 hours for someone to actually start looking for him. And I kept thinking, maybe he just stopped off, waited for the weather. Um, he was, he was hanging there that whole time, hours, upside down, tangled up in the seatbelt. They said he could reach the car horn, but he couldn't hold it long enough because, well, you see, his arm was broken, and that's how he died. Upside down, pressing on that horn whenever he could. That's when it started. The night after he died, it started with drops of water. And I'd be asleep in our bed. I'd be woken up because I'd feel rain, I guess. Just raindrops just falling on my face. And then I'd wake up and there'd be nothing there. My face would be a little wet. And my pillow. It got worse. I'd hear the car horn. Short bursts. Distant, I think. Close enough to wake me. And then finally, well, this was right after the funeral. The night after he was buried, I felt the water on my cheeks, and I heard the horn, and I looked up to the ceiling, and he was there, hanging there, upside down. I could see the water dripping off his hair. His face was a deep purple, like blood was just pooling up to his head. It's funny, you'd think you'd see something like that you'd scream. But you don't. You just stare. You just stare like an idiot. Like your brain just tripped. So it was dripping off his hair. The rain and the blood too. And he was just staring at me, not blinking, his eyes open, as if he was gonna scream, but it was just a car horn coming out of his mouth so loud, I fell off the bed. Then I screamed after I fell off the bed because I hit the floor. It startled me, and I was like, remembered. All right. I can scream. I can scream. I should probably scream. So I screamed all right. And then I ran. I tripped in the hall and looked back. And I laid there and cried. And that was the last time I slept in my room.